Yo, we're back for another podcast. This is your boy EC22, and this is the FairWeather Fan channel, man. Thank you for tuning in. And before we go any further, like, subscribe, share, leave comments, join the conversation, man. We appreciate it. And as always, we got your favorite Philly fan in the house, Max. What's going on? Fly, Eagles, fly. And he has got his, what's that, Macho Man Randy Savage? Or he wanted to show us the eagle on his head. Okay. Hey, I think the eagle took a bathroom on your head. No, just playing.
You got jokes today. Okay.
I definitely got jokes today, man. So here we are, man. Max, how's your week been so far? Let's go ahead and get those particulars out the way.
My week's been, last week was kind of stressful. This week is going by real smooth, so I'm happy about that.
That's what's up, man. Hey, how's your bracket looking like? Is your bracket busted?
It got busted when Kansas lost, so I gave up on it.
My bracket got busted when Kentucky lost. And I think when Yale won, I think that killed my bracket. My bracket was busted the first day, like always. But since we're talking about the bracket, I got my phone pulled up right here, so y'all forgive me if I'm looking down. But ain't no sense of he's going over that. Look, we're looking at I got the women's pulled up right now. So you have the Sweet 16 already set. You got South Carolina going against Indiana. You got Notre Dame going against Oregon, Texas, and Gonzaga. You got NC State and Stanford, Iowa, and Colorado. You got LSU and UCLA. And you got USC and Baylor, UConn, and Duke. Man, listen, I'm going to just say it. Big 12 all the way. Texas, Texas, Baylor. Those are my squads. But now I don't think either one of them guys got a chance to make it into the Final Four. But I'm still Big 12 strong over here, so that's how we roll. But, man, it was some good games last night, man. I watched Oklahoma struggle against Indiana, man. They had a chance to win last night. They kind of fell short. And we're speaking of the girls. Someone is leaving comments. Who was that? Lou, what's going on, bro? Thank you for watching. Y'all, Faith Sports Talk Radio. I think I'm saying too many names. Faith Talk Sports. It's Faith Talk Sports Radio over on Facebook, man. Join them at 7 o'clock. I'll be jumping over there as well. And then Max, once again, will probably be trolling at 7 o'clock.
Yes, I will.
So we definitely be supporting that channel. But, man, Iowa last night shocked me against West Virginia. Dude, watching that game last night, it was like, because everybody know about Caitlin Clark. We know how good she is. We know how phenomenal shooter she is. And West Virginia seemed like they couldn't score. They had plenty of opportunities, driving to the lane, shooting, missed a lot of layups, missed a lot of shots. But it came down to a close game. Actually, they took the lead. I think it was maybe like 3-some-odd minutes in the fourth quarter. They think it took a 2-point lead. And then at that point, the turnovers got the best of them. And then, of course, Iowa took the rest of the way. But, man, what a great –
That's what happens when you fuck around and find out.
Wow, that's what he said. UCLA also, the girls UCLA also had a rough go last night, man. They started out losing to Creighton. I mean, it was I don't know, I think almost like a 15-point league, and they really didn't turn it over until the second half. And then it was kind of like a teeter-totter situation. And then in the fourth quarter, they kind of opened up a little bit, but it was only a small league. I mean, 67 to 63. And I was like, at that point, I wanted UCLA to win, but it's like, why not root for the underdog in a situation like that? But they pulled it out. USC against my Kansas team, Big 12. They got beat down. Baylor was in a tough one against Virginia Tech. They pulled it on out. Great job to them. And then, Ohio State did that thing. They're expecting, and I've been hearing all the comment, they're expecting who was that to go all the way? They're expecting South Carolina to go all the way. They said they've been dominating folks, so we'll see how they look. I mean, yeah, I definitely believe that. But don't get my girls from LSU, you know what I'm saying? Like you say, mess around and find out with my girls from LSU. You know what I'm saying? I got them going against Iowa in the Elite Eight, so hopefully they both will make my bracket proud by getting through this next round. Wait a minute. So yeah, so LSU got to pay UCLA. I think they'll beat them. Going over to the men's side real quick. To the men's bracket real quick. The Sweet 16 is just set UConn and San Diego, Illinois and Iowa State, North Carolina and Alabama, Clemson and Arizona, Houston and Duke, NC State and Marquette, Purdue, Gonzaga, Creighton, and Tennessee. At the end of the day, everybody's going to be watching that Houston and Dookie, the Houston and the Dukies.
Duke is just gonna pull out that upset
Don't you
win.
dare say it. Don't you dare say it.
Mm-hmm.
You think the
Houston
Dukies
is
got a
going
chance?
home.
Huh?
They got the element of surprise.
Oh man, no, man. I okay. I'm not saying it's gonna be a tough game. Jay Wood, who's a ESPN commentator and former Duke alumni, he gave it a 50-50. Usually when guys have their team, they're all in on their team, but even he's afraid of Houston. So with that being said, if he's afraid of Houston, then it's rightfully so. I got Duke is coming out of that game. I mean, I got Houston coming out of that game. North Carolina, Alabama. Man, that's gonna be a beatdown, I believe. UConn against San Diego, believe it or not, if there's an upset, this can be one. I'm just throwing it out there like that. Not saying it's going to be one, but if that's going to be an upset, this can be a one. San Diego can upset UConn, and I'm just throwing it out there. It's not that I got them picked, but I'm just saying. Speaking of brackets, y'all, we have been talking about the GOAT conversation for so long, and we talked about it last week with the centers. That y'all know what I'm doing. I got the greatest players of all time. But I'm doing the centers right now. Who are the best big men in the league? And to kind of recap what we talked about last week, today is the day we crown a winner. And I just did, individual surveys, going to people, asking their opinions. I ranked the players by their career points, and then we came up with a little bracket system. And if you already see how these players ranked, we're all the way down. We got down to the final four, and it came down to Kareem and Hakeem. Kareem took that. Then it came down to Wilt and Shaq. It was a close match with Shaq and Wilt, but as you can see, Shaquille O'Neal took it. And then at that point, it was all she wrote. If you see the winner at the bottom right down here, Shaquille O'Neal has taken the bracket. And most people probably would have predicted if we had centers. It was between Wilt and Shaq anyway, but Shaquille O'Neal is the most dominant player I've ever seen. I know Wilt Chamberlain is big. I know he was a man amongst boys. I know he was unstoppable, averaging close to 50 points a game, doing his thing back in the day. But Shaquille O'Neal was a scary guy. He was very, very scary, and there was nothing you could do with the guy. And the fact that you couldn't shoot, he couldn't make free throws, but whatever he did great. So, and it's such a big guy to be able to jump, you know what I'm saying, and be soft touch around the rim. I mean, this is easy. This is easy, hand down. And I want to say this to you guys out there watching. We need to put some respect on Shaquille O'Neal's name to put him in the conversation for greatest of all time, period. Not just the center. Yeah. That's my Shannon Sharp voice. Yeah. Shaquille O'Neal deserved to be in that conversation, man. What are your thoughts, Max, as you're shaking your head over there?
Don't feed his ego much more than what he already thinks he is, man.
Hey, I get the ego, man, but look, some people, I mean, yeah, he needs to learn how to act like a civilian. So act like a civilian. I get it. You know what I mean? But when it comes down to the hardwood, he's unstoppable. There's nothing you can do to stop him. I watched a video the other day, and it was talking about all these guys who came out and talked about how they was afraid to guard him, how there was nothing they can do against it. And we're not talking about the Orlando and the Laker era. We're talking about even when he went to Phoenix, even when he went to Cleveland, even when he went to Boston. You know what I'm saying? Those teams when he was kind of in his later years, it wasn't as productive. They still said there's nothing you can do. So basically, when Shaq's production went down, it wasn't because he was being stopped. It's just he couldn't perform at the level he wanted to health-wise, stuff like that with his age and his body and stuff like that. But only person shut Shaq down was Shaq. Period. Therefore, feed his ego or not, he deserved to be in the conversation as the greatest player of all time. He is on my Mount Rushmore. Yes, he is. There we have it.
Okay.
Okay. Max has conceded defeat in the conversation. We're going to get in that conversation in more depth on Face Sport Talk Radio with Lewis Medford, because I definitely want to get Coach's opinion about the bracket system and how that I've curated, and then definitely want to get his opinion on that Final Four situation. Maybe not all the teams that was on the list, but definitely that Final Four and his thoughts on that. Listen, in the NFL, and I'm gonna say this with all due respect, the NFL will soon become the PFFL, the Pro Flag Football League, with all these changes. I don't know, Max. What are your thoughts about all these new changes? You see the whole kickoff situation now. They did it. They changed the kickoff last year. Then they're complaining because they didn't see a lot of returns, but that was your whole intention. Now you got this whole weird setup. The guys can't move until the ball is caught. You kick off from the 35-yard line, but the other team got to be on the opponent's 40-yard line. And then, if the ball goes into the landing zone, you can return it, or it's some weird stuff. It's so much. I'm like, it's so weird. Cat's going to be confused, man, with this whole situation. And then I'm gonna let you talk about the other one, that this whole flag football situation.
Well, right now I'm happy with the league because they did not ban the tush push. And the thing I'm not upset about either is how tackling, man.
Yeah.
Like, because we got Barkley now, y'all can't tackle him like y'all used to. So now people are forced to take lessons in tackling in this off season, because tackling them with their hips is gonna get you a flag now for no reason.
But that's stupid, bro.
That's what I said.
Now, let's be fair. I want to be fair to the NFL. I get it. You're paying players a lot of money, and the league want to protect their investment. You don't want to see a guy going out for an extended period of time. But at the end of the day, this is a violent sport. This is football. This is contact. This is contact at the highest level. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know how you put a guy down, because there's so many stipulations between, they said, the hip pull versus the hip twist or whatever. You can't put your body weight on the guy. You can't roll over on top of him. I mean, the moment you pull a guy down to the ground and you're off balance and you're falling down yourself, sometimes you can't control how you land, So it's going to be a lot of penalties. It's going to be a lot of yards given up because of this rule. And like you said, you got an offseason to try to get guys prepared the right way. And in most training camps, you don't do a lot of tackling, especially on the quarterback. So they're going to have to pretty much figure it out in preseason for the most part.
It's crazy that they're putting so much emphasis on player safety with the tackling and kickoffs, but they're ignoring the biggest problem, which is the turf, man. We have seen so many injuries on artificial turf versus natural turf, and when will it become an issue to where they pay attention to the actual field? Because
which one is supposed to be safer, the artificial or the real?
The real deal. Because artificial is just artificial, nothing will ever happen, but it's weird.
Yeah, but a lot of the stadiums are going indoors, and of course you got the stadium in Arizona. I mean, the stadium in Las Vegas, and then there's another stadium that I think that's the only one, right? That pools that have real grass and real turf, and they pull it outside in the elements.
That's Arizona.
That's Las Vegas.
Yeah. That's Arizona.
So both of them do it. I know Las Vegas do it. So Arizona and Las Vegas pull their grass out of the stadium. Yeah. Inside their domes or whatever. I mean, maybe they can do stuff like that, but I mean, you know what? No, I've actually, y'all don't trip on what I'm about to say, but I actually played on turf in a dome. We had a church retreat down there in San Antonio. We took that's when the Cowboys at one time was doing their training camp at the Alamo Dome, and our church guys, the men's retreat, we went down there, and at the end of their training camp, they allowed us, a group of men, that's probably almost about 100, 200 men. They allowed us to get out there and play football on that turf. And I tell you right now, if you fall down on little beads, boy, little turf with them beads, ooh wee. Let's just say we had a couple of old guys coming. They didn't come back the way their wives sent them off. Let me just say that. I can imagine their families looking them boys got off the bus like, wait a minute, y'all supposed to be on a spiritual retreat. Y'all come back and cast and crutches. Yeah, it was funny because we had no pass and we supposed to be playing flag football, but yeah, you know how I end up going competition, get out there and bunch of 30, 40-year-olds. Yeah, 30, 40-year-olds want to start playing real football, reliving their college days. And yeah, it was fun. But no, yeah, but the NFL, I mean, I get they're trying to make the game safe, but like you said, some of the things they're ignoring doesn't make any sense. But I don't know how guys are supposed to play this sport now. You know, I just don't know how. I mean, and I'm not tripping on the NFL. I get they got to do what they got to do to try to protect their investment, but I mean, man, heck, you might as well just make it flag football. Just call it what it is. It's gonna be some touching, throw up touch.
And then also with these rules, you got people thinking Patrick Mahomes is the new GOAT. No, he's not. Tom Brady playing in the more dangerous big boy game as opposed to Patrick Mahomes.
Wow, you must don't like Patrick Mahomes.
I had an argument this
Oh,
morning with someone saying Patrick Mahomes is the real GOAT, and I basically put him in their place because they're saying Tom Brady ain't nothing compared to Patrick Mahomes. But like,
is he baby goat? Is he baby goat?
no, he's not.
He's not a goat at all. Dang, that sounds personal. I think Patrick Mahomes deserves to be in that conversation, even in the early career that he has right now. I think it's fitting that he's there. I mean, 3 championships so far in his career. I think it's fair. I mean, but we can agree to disagree on that. But is he better at this point than Tom Brady? Now, I've heard what analysts said. They talk about the way he won, how he had a hard road to the finals and then actually winning the Super Bowl versus Tom Brady didn't have as much of a struggle, especially with the weak division that he was in when he played. And I get the argument there. So some would say Patrick Mahomes' road to Super Bowls was a whole lot greater than Brady's that put him in up above. But like I say, it all depends on how you view the game and which is your favorite team and who you really want to root for. And I think a lot of times these players, they want Patrick Mahomes to be in that conversation already because they don't want his legacy of not getting as many Super Bowls to be outshined because that's still left to be determined. Will he get as many Super Bowls as Brady? And that's a hard task to do for a guy at a young career. And he's going to be they're gunning after him. So, and I think that's the reason why they put him in the conversation. Like, give him his flowers now, and don't wait till later. And then with Tom Brady, you love him or hate him. People hated Tom Brady. Tom Brady got suspended for Deflategate, and I still think if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But got to be creative in this league, right? You got to find ways to win, and deflating ball is the way to win. That's all right. Dog, y'all children, don't listen to me. Don't cheat. Listen, Deion Sanders, prime time, came out and said that he believed that next year in 2025 NFL draft, when it was asked, he believed Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter will be coming out in the top 4. Why he chose an even number, I don't know, but he said top 4. And he said one of them will be number 1. And the other one will fall somewhere between 2 and 4. And then he went on to say that there are teams that he would like them to play at. So there are teams, if they choose to draft him, he said, no, we will pull at Eli Manning. So much things to unpack. Number one, let me ask you this question. Is Travis and will Travis or Shedeur be a top 5 or top 4 pick next year, draft pick next year? What do you think, Max?
I don't think they will, simply because of the fact that they play in the weaker division as opposed to all these other cats that are playing against real competitive teams, defenses, and all that.
Yeah. As much as I
Then,
love Deion, as much as I love his kids, there's a possibility he could. If Deion get that Colorado team, they're going to the Big 12, so I believe it's wide open for them with Oklahoma and Texas leaving. But if you get some players around him to where Shador can have somebody to throw to, Travis can pick which side of the ball he wants to play on, and then succeed there. Yeah, it's a possibility. Just like there's always a possibility for any kid to come out top 4, top 5, top 10, whatever, to be a lottery pick. That's fine. My problem with this is that the pressure you put on a young man, and the league ain't that their season ain't close to being started. That's the problem. Because now your kid, your son, instead of going out there and doing what people are supposed to do, enjoying the game, now you got to go out there. I got to live up to these expectations, because he ain't like some of these other players like Caleb Williams was, to where he really didn't have to play last year because he was pretty much already suited and booed to be in the draft. He played enough just to solidify the number 1 spot. But whether he played it down last year, he was going to draft anyway. Ain't nobody ready to pick neither one of them right now. You know what I'm saying? Travis Hunter was hurt most of the season last year, and Shador, obviously, they didn't have a good season. I mean, that was better season they did before, but since when did we celebrate mediocre and losing seasons? We don't celebrate that, right? Yeah, you won better than 2 games, and it's a win for what Deion bringing to the organization, but on the grand scale of being a champion, that ain't you have missed the mark by far. You know what I'm saying? So he's gonna have to come out and play lights out. And that and Daddy's already said that's what he's gonna do. So maybe he know more than what we know. I would love to see it. I would. But then if that happened, then you got this whole, will Deion stay at Colorado? Will he entertain coming to the league to follow his sons? Because that's what he's done his whole career with Prime Prep Academy, going over to the high school that he was at, then going over to Jackson State, then Colorado. So we don't know. We don't know what Deion's going to do. So at this point, number 2 question, Max, is cats or college players determining where they're going to go. Is this going to be more and more common?
It will be common if Caleb Williams leads the charge this year's draft. If Caleb Williams just he sits tight and waits for the Chicago Bears to say his name.
Yeah.
Then all these cats are gonna say, you know what? Let's just hope for the best when they announce my name. Hopefully, it's a good team. Because honestly, I feel that the only person that can carry this in that trajectory will be Caleb Williams. But like I said, if he stays at that number 1 spot, they all lose their power after that.
Right. For those who are watching now or maybe watching it later on replay, listen, if you don't know what this is, Eli Manning, back when Eli Manning came out of college, I believe he was getting drafted by the Chargers, and he came out and said, and he told the Chargers, don't draft me. I don't want to go to that team. And then they drafted him, and then they traded him over to the New York Giants, and then that's where his career was, win 2 Super Bowls over there. There you have it. His daddy, if you don't know, Archie Manning, obviously Peyton Manning is his brother. You know what I'm saying? So you got all the Manning brothers over like that. I mean, I forget his dad, but you got Archie Manning, you got brothers Archie and Peyton, and then Eli, and I forget Daddy Manning name. But yeah, big family, got money. He can make that decision. Shador Sanders, Deion Sanders' son, yeah, got money. You know what I'm saying? Caleb Williams, he cries. So does he have leverage? I don't know. One thing, I mean, RG3, Robert Griffin III, he loved it. He believed this is a player empowerment. He believed that if the players have that leverage, they should definitely use it. And his take is simple like this. He said that he, speaking of Caleb Williams, to tell Chicago not to draft him so he can go, and he think that the Washington Commanders is a better fit. And his opinion was this, Max: coaches' longevity or the coaching situation getting buttoned up. He feel like even though with the acquisitions that Chicago got with Mike Evans and the running back, I forget the running back they got over there, but they got some studs over there. They got some players. He said, but the coaching situation haven't really been buttoned up, and he don't want Caleb Williams going to a situation to where he's going to be changing out coaches and then different schemes and stuff like that, and then he's really not going to be effective. He said a kid like that, who is the number 1 pick, needs some type of foundation and stability. And he figured because you got Dan Quinn over at Washington Commanders, he's going to be there, so at least more than 3 years. And you got Cliff Kingsbury, who he feel that is a better fit for Caleb Williams' style of play, that's where he should land. I don't know. What do you think?
My thing is, why are they treating Caleb Williams like royalty? Like, they've been having this situation for years. Why didn't they do this when Justin Fields was coming out and getting drafted? Why didn't they do this when Mitch Trubisky was coming out and getting drafted? Same with Bryce Young. Why didn't they do this when Carolina was shaking? I mean, they could have done this for every player out there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
since it's Caleb Williams, everyone is just going off like he's some type of he already accomplished so much in his career. It's like he hasn't accomplished anything, hasn't even taken a professional snap, and they're already giving him
Yeah.
a red carpet, his roses and everything.
I'm like you. I am not a strong believer in Caleb Williams' ability to be a superstar in the NFL. I think he'll be a decent quarterback. I don't think he'll be a superstar. But what he's shown thus far in college, it's amazing how these cats take these waves. Because I remember when Baker was hot, and then when you had Kyler Murray, and then you had Jalen Hurts, and I remember back when Tebow was a hot thing coming out. I remember Johnny Manziel. All these quarterbacks that was just like, supposed to be the bomb.com, and none of them is at the level of Patrick Mahomes. Some of them not even at the level of Dak Prescott, who came out in the later rounds. But you put all this energy around them, it didn't see what happens. So, but I get it. But this is what you do. It's more marketing business than anything, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, right now he basically didn't even do a training camp. He went there, threw a couple balls, and pretty much was in the media the whole time. Didn't run any 40s, didn't do any bench pressing, didn't do anything besides just show up and go to the media. And that's just what that is. I mean, that's where these players are right now. With the NIL deals and stuff like that, I mean, they do hold a lot of leverage. Andrew, what's his name? Andrew Wiggins, not Andrew. What's that dude's name? Find his name. I almost quote the kid. I don't want to hold it too longer, but I forget his name. But he was on ESPN. Andrew. I forget his name. Don't give me the line. But his first name is Andrew. Anyway, he made a comment. He said there's a thin line between player empowerment and player entitlement, and I more than agree with that statement because, yeah, you do want to empower the players to determine where they're going to go because, like I say, some of these players do get the bad end of the deal. Justin Fields get the bad end of the deal. You know what I'm saying? Bryce Young, get the bad end of the deal when in their careers. So you would love to have these players come out and say, no, I don't want to go to that team. I'd rather go here because this is a better fit for me. But you don't want to, because every player can't do it. Then it becomes a sense of entitlement. Because now you can strategically disrupt the draft order, determining where you want to go, and how other players have to sit back and wait on what you're going to do. And at the end of the day, it's a privilege just to be in the NFL in the beginning. So I think that's kind of where it's kind of shaky at. But that's just my 2 cents, man. What are your final thoughts on this whole situation with this Deion and his children?
To add on to the whole Caleb Williams situation as well,
yeah,
it's like the league and everyone is putting effort and money into scouting all these players, sending scouts and stuff just for a player to say, I don't want to go to you. That's a waste of time. They could have been looking at a different prospect, figuring out who's the best out of the other bunch and stuff like that.
Right.
And now back to Deion. I think Deion is just salty that last year his players weren't getting selected as high as he would have hoped, or that a lot of his players were selected. I think he only got less than like 10, 15 players selected in the draft. I think he's just mad, so he's just throwing comments out there so people can actually pay attention to what his team is doing this coming up season.
And I'm all for it because, like you said, if that's a pressure that he put on himself, maybe he put the pressure on himself to go out and coach his tail off next year and figure with his coaching style and what he's going to change up in the organization, his players, particularly Shedeur and Travis, will be undenied for the NFL You know what I'm saying, next year. So if that's the game plan, if that's the pressure he put on himself, if that's what he believes and that's what the energy you want to put out there, so be it. All we know is that the world will be watching. So good luck to Shedeur Sanders as well as Trevor Hunter on a next year season. We got some comments coming in. Coach Primer definitely using his to ensure his sons get a high profile attention. I ain't mad. What G saying? She allowed to be hired by any team. If that team don't hire him, he should simply allow it. Oh, G, that's tough. That is definitely tough. Man, we got to talk about that offline more because I get what you're saying, but man, that's like that's kind of like Jay Williams saying that you need to have 120 teams in the round in the NCAA tournament. It's like makes sense, but it's too much got to happen. College coaches, real quick. Bill Self, Kansas City coach, made a statement saying that, and he was doing his post-game interview, turned around and said that a month ago, I was getting ready for next year. Then he kind of tried to save face a little bit and say, no, I was not while I was coaching the game, not while I was coaching these guys, but yeah, definitely a month ago, I was getting ready for it. And it caught a lot of flack and caught a lot of attention and stuff like that. And here's my thought. It's funny because when coaches or when teams win the big thing, the national championship, the title, whatever, every coach, and it's without fail, always come out and say, man, this is the best group of guys I've ever coached. And congratulations to them. I'm going to miss these guys that are seniors, man, and then the guys that are left, we're going to try to do it again next year. But, man, this team assembled right now is the best. And they're all emotion and stuff is flying, confetti's flying there, and they got the alcohol and the champagne flying. He's out there, tears on. These are the best group of guys, and I love them. Now we hear what coaches say when they don't win. I'm getting ready for next year. And there's nothing wrong with the notion because we know when you know the team you got, you know your team not gonna make the Elite Eight or the Final Four, but you don't come out and tell the whole world that, Bill Self.
You basically told the whole world, "Hey guys, this was a season where I'm trying to see and evaluate the players I want to keep for next season, which ones I want to get rid of, because I am not coming back with these same group."
Now NCAA coaches have a tough because now they got to act like GMs. Because now you got NIL deals, you got the transfer portal, so there's a lot more that these college coaches have to now add to their choosing process, just how they build their organization. You know what I'm saying? Outside of one and done and stuff like that. So there's a lot that have to be looked into, and a lot of these older coaches. Like a Bill Self. And that's the reason why I believe Nick Saban stepped down, because like that's not what he signed up for, to be a GM, right? And I get it. But in my opinion, this is what happens when you're ego driven. Bill Self, you know what I'm saying, has been to the Sweet 16 a lot of time, been to the Final Four, I think 3 times in his career. The recent was 2022 when they won the whole deal. But he's always had success. And now it's like you 2 years in a row, you didn't make the Sweet 16. I know that's got to be hard for him. And it's an emotion because he's like, I'm not that. This is not me. I have to coach better than this. And I know, but when you get in the media, it's just like, I don't know if he was making an excuse, but you could tell it was a little bit of ego driven. A month ago, I was getting ready for next year. Like I get it, but you don't say that. You don't say that. And I know he pretty much had to go do some apologies to his team, his players and stuff like that, and trying to walk back what he said and try to give an explanation of what he really meant and da. But that's the business of basketball. Yeah, you're always looking forward to next year, like I say, but they know you're trained how to respond to the media, Bill Self. You've been doing it for too long. You know how to talk to the media.
So as a player, would you want to come back next season and play for him? If you were in those shoes?
If I was a player and I would walk up to Bill Self and say, listen, was I the player you was getting ready for next year? You know what I'm saying? Am I the guy? Because if not, they be getting the transfer portal. You know what I'm saying? Was I on your mind about getting ready for next year? That means I should be starting. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, I'm taking my talent somewhere else. And like G say, apply for another team.
Right. I'm not riding the bench next season.
Right. Hey, before we go into our final thing, I want to kind of give a quick shout out, man, to a particular podcast, man, that I think that's going to really, really change, not really change podcasting, but I think it's giving us a fresh look into podcasting and a different way to do it. It's called the Mind the Game with LeBron James and JJ Redick. Y'all, they've only got a few episodes out right now, man, and I think what they're doing is so phenomenal because they're actually breaking down the game, at least what the first couple of episodes that we saw what they're doing. Real quick, just kind of take a look at kind of some of the stuff that they're saying. And I'm not going to here, check it out for a second.
My question to you, going back to that basketball intelligence piece, does the game require more basketball intelligence now, or does it require less than when you first started?
You can't ask me that because I'm always side on basketball IQ.
Yeah.
Always. I think throughout the regular season, you can get away with a low IQ team if you're talented. You can get away with it in the first round and maybe get away with it in the second round. But when you get to the conference finals and you get to the finals, obviously the top 4 teams in the conference finals, they have players, unless the team just happen to hit a heater and they just get lucky. But the top 4 teams normally are going to be the teams with the best players, for the best coaches. And what's going to separate them is now the basketball IQ kicks in.
You got to love that, man, how they're breaking down basketball IQ, man. And that's kind of how their conversation been going. Here's another clip I want to share real quick.
There's guys in the NBA that if you call a play or a coach draw a play to one side of the floor, they can't switch it in their head and do it and say, let's run it to the other side without the coach drawing on the clipboard.
Yeah.
I've never understood that. And I don't know. I never understood that. So if I say we're running thumb down angle, we're running on the right side, so because I have a left-hand point guard, he wants to come middle to a strong hand. He has the ability to hit the pocket pass with the left hand, has the ability to throw ahead, he's lefty, and also has the ability to throw back on the shake. But if I say, hey, we run a thumb down angle on the left side because now the right-hand guard coming right, I've had teammates that's like, oh, what do you mean? Coaches always, in practice, we only ran it from this side.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. The only problem I have with this particular podcast is Kobe should have been here for this. This is the mind of Kobe. You know, when he went out there and did the details for ESPN, breaking down teams and players, and then they asked JJ Redick to do it. I think it was last year, a couple years ago. And this is what it's all about. We saw Kobe do this first. And kudos for JJ Redick for picking up that stick and running with it, because I think this is what we, the fans, need, you know what I'm saying, to hear what the players actually go through on the court, the X's and the O's and stuff like that. And they're the only ones that can do it. I can't do it. I don't care how much you know the game of basketball. If you're not coming from an NBA perspective, actually being out there on the floor, this is something we can't get in at. When we can sit back and analyze the game and be podcasters and have our opinion about certain things that we assume or some things that we believe in sports based on our own knowledge, have played the sport ourselves. But for this level, this is like, man, I wish more players would have that understanding. But like LeBron James said, it takes a high level IQ. I mean, you talking about calling a timeout in a switch of play. If you're on the left and they say switch, obviously you go to the right. But some players just can't seem to get that. And they're going to, you know, and this was just the first episode I watched. I'm still got the second episode. That's only 2 they got out there. So we're going to see how this is going to continue to go, man. But man, give JJ Redick and LeBron James for finding the time in the middle of the season to do it, to give this attention to this detail, man. So I appreciate the Mind the Game with LeBron James and JJ Redick. If you guys want to go out there watch it, I know this type of content is not for everybody. Some folks just want to hear their favorite athlete tell their life story or tell crazy controversial stories or whatever. But for those who, like myself, who love basketball, the X's and O's of it all, this is for you. All right. All right, Max, getting back into what we've been talking about. Listen, I know you want to talk about it. I'm going to let you talk about this baseball pitcher guy. Go ahead and take over, man.
All right. Otani, I don't know if you're watching.
Shame on you.
That too, but can you please just say the truth? The truth always prevails. Just come out and say the truth. You're making the Dodgers organization look bad. You're making people in baseball scratch their heads. You're making Houston Astros look like them cheating was an afterthought because you're taking over with this controversy.
Right.
And it all started when you fired your translator interpreter because you said he took my money and placed it on bets. And then less than 24 hours after that, you said I wasn't aware that he took my money. Afterwards, you said we're investigating him because he's been putting my money somewhere else. Basically, you're saying you knew the money was missing, you didn't know what's going on, but then you say, "Oh yeah, he took my money," and then now you're saying, "I don't know what's going on." Now the Dodgers organization is saying they're investigating it because they don't know how that could happen, and it's just going into a big mess. That's going a lot of backtracking back and forth. Now you don't know what's real and what's not real. And you got one simple translator that can solve everything by just saying his side of the story. But can we really believe a translator when you're on this side of your story? You're trying to make it seem like it's all his fault.
Man,
Maybe you hired that translator to make a couple of bets for you, and you don't want to admit what you did, and that was your fall guy. He took all the heat for you, and now he's out of a job because of you, if that is the case.
I think I can't, because I don't want to call somebody a liar, right? The one thing we do know is that Otani's translator has a gambling problem. He said that's the statement he put out there. He has a gambling problem. He got accrued so much debt in gambling. And that's one of the reports that came out in the footage that you sent me shows saying that that's the reason why he was given his money to pay off a gambling debt. And then he turns around and said that, hey, I wasn't betting on softball or baseball. I was betting on NBA and some other sport. I forgot. He was betting on the NBA and some other soccer, So I get it. So at least he's coming out and saying, I am gambling and I do have a gambling problem. Now, where Tony comes in, it's hard to say he's involved because there's nothing suggesting otherwise other than this translator's close to him. But what I do believe he knows. I don't believe it was something that he wasn't aware of. And I think that's the reason why it's happening the way it's happening right now, because there is some penalty because he knew about it. Now, how the Dodgers or the MLB will handle it, his knowledge of it, is left to be seen because it wasn't him, but it was his money. Do they see it the same because he knew? I don't know. But that's why he's trying to get out in front of it, and that's the reason why he's trying to clear his name. And listen, all fairness, and some may disagree, but in all fairness, if it was a translator's bad doing, whether he was given some money by Otani or not, but if giving him some money to do what he want with it, to gamble and make bets, but it was his bet, then yeah, you need to accept being the fall guy for getting caught. Straight up. You don't sit around and say and rat on this guy. Now the league and the Dodgers are going to get involved. They're going to try to get down to the bottom of it, and that's where all the lies and stuff or the stories get all twisted up and stuff like that. That's what make it look all suspect. But just come out and say, listen, it's on me. If I got it, it's on me. What do you have to lose, bro? Your boy is $700 million strong. What you got to lose? It ain't like you're going to jail because it's legal. You know what I'm saying?
No, there would be jail time due to the fact that this is money that we're gambling with. They didn't declare it on taxes and stuff like that. So it's like it's money kept out of the books and stuff that they needed to report and all that.
Okay,
Like
so
a
you go
bunch of
to
legal
jail.
stuff.
So okay, so hey, let's talk about it. You go to jail, you know what I'm saying, and you put money in your books, whatever the case may be. Yeah, but you got people say, I'm gonna bring the whole thing down. You know what I'm saying? Kareem Akbar. I ain't the only one. You know what I'm saying? Nino Brown. But nah, hey, it's left to be seen. But there are a lot of people just like you, Mac, who suggest that they believe that Otani, it was his money and it was his bet that old boy was making. He's just the guy who's running to the store getting the ticket, but it was his money, his bet. Oh man, they're gonna eventually get down to the bottom of it.
I would
The last
believe
thing. Go ahead, Mac. Go ahead, Max. I'm sorry.
I would believe Otani. He didn't switch up his story 3 times in 24 hours.
Or it could have been a translator switching up the story. We don't know what he said.
All we know is
We don't know.
is one. All we know is you're the interpreter. I'm Otani. I'm gonna say you're a liar. You're gonna say I'm a liar. Now no one knows who's lying in reality.
Yeah. Japan knows. I'm sorry. Hey, man, the last thing we got for today, man, thank you guys for watching. You stuck around so long. It's simple, y'all. Listen, Mike Tomlin deserves a hand clap. He deserves a hand clap for what he's done. And yeah, I know he's the other team in Pennsylvania. You don't like him, but I'm sorry. Credit where credit is due. Listen, for the longest, I've been saying that if you've been in a franchise quarterback situation or any position, and you've been with your team through the storm and the rain, there's an appreciation and a right that you earn by playing that position. And you should determine whether you go. Russell Wilson is one of those guys. Obviously, Sean Payton didn't see it the same way and benched a guy for basically no reason, you know what I'm saying, basically pulling his weight. And Russell Wilson handled it a whole lot better than a lot of us would. But then Mike Tomlin came out there and said, you know what? I don't care what those other coaches, I don't care what y'all been saying about Russell. I don't care what y'all think about him. Let's not forget who this guy is. Former finals Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion. We forgot at one time was one of the strongest arms in the whole NFL. You know what I'm saying? And it's such a small stature. You know what I'm saying? So let's not forget who he is. The guy has put in the work. So therefore, even though we got a young Justin Fields, he's in pole position. For guys who don't know what that means, this is a racing term for those out there. If you have the fastest lead time on the lap on your next race, you get that first spot. And when you're in the first spot, it means, you know what I'm saying, you are already slotted to win because you got the first spot. That don't mean the first person in this first position always wins, but you have a better position than anybody to win. You know what I'm saying? But it's up to the cars behind you to make the right move to take that spot. And it happens all the time. But because you've done the work up front, you get that first spot. And I love that he used that analogy because I got 2 new quarterbacks who's never been in the Pittsburgh Steelers uniform. And everybody wants to know who started. He said, it's simple. The guy who got to have the biggest resume, he's going to start. He's earned the right to start. It's up to Justin Fields to take that spot. Thank you, Mike Tomlin, for making that clear to the rest of the NFL coaches and owners. This is how you treat a person like Russell Wilson. That's just my 2 cents. Max, you got anything to add on that?
Yes, Mike Tomlin is a good coach. He hasn't had a losing season, but the person that's actually making all this happen is the GM. The GM is making the contracts, asking people to come over, talking to the players and everything. Mike Tomlin is not talking to the players because he's not allowed to because of tampering. So right. Kudos to the GM for making it happen without them communicating.
But let's be fair to Mike Tomlin. Yeah, he's the one. He's in the room when it happens. He can't talk to players, but when they go to the office and stuff like that, they're asking his opinion. He's saying what he would like. He's saying how I can make this work. And I said this last week, and I'll keep saying it until we kind of get over this whole situation. But listen, Mike Tomlin is a philosophy guy. That's how he runs the organization. And anybody who ever played for him, who ever came out and did any show and gave us an inside look on what it looked like to be a player for Mike Tomlin, he believes what he believes and he stands on what he believes, period. And Russell Wilson has a philosophy, faith, family, football in that order. He believes he's a Christian man and he stands on his principles and his belief. And whether, I don't know if they agree in a lot of those different things, especially when it comes down to religion and stuff like that, but they can respect each other because they're both the philosophy guys. And that's what makes them a good fit for each other, because they can respect each other's way of doing things. You're a philosophy guy, I'm a philosophy guy, and we can respect each other's philosophy. I love it. I love it for that situation. But yeah, kudos to the GM for actually making the right deals and making those contracts and getting those players over there. And did he just get somebody? Cordell Patterson just went over there too today. So they're making some moves, man. They're making some major moves over in Pittsburgh. So they may be the new best team in Pennsylvania. So we probably won't be seeing this Kelly Green. We're gonna see them terrible tiles later on. So well, Max, man, hey, right now, man, that's all we have for the FairWeather Fan channel, man. Flip on over to Facebook. We're gonna join them guys over at Faith Talk Sports Radio. Anybody, Max, you got any last word before we sign out and go on over there to Coach and Martez?
Houston's gonna be going home.
Big 12 strong. We're gonna leave it at that. Boy, AC22, the FairWeather Fan channel. Thanks for tuning in. Catch us next Tuesday. We out.